In this lecture, we'll discuss about the commutation of SCR, types of commutation and class C commutation. So commutation is basically the term which is used for representing the transfer of current from one path to another. Here in the case of SCR, we already know that it cannot turn off by itself. So in order to turn off the SCR, the anode current of the SCR should be made to 0, or we should apply a negative voltage across the device. So this can be achieved by commutation. So in general, commutation is of two types. One is a natural commutation, another one is a forced commutation. So first we'll see the natural commutation. So this natural commutation is used in the case of AC supply. As we all know, the current in the case of AC will flow through the zero crossing line while going from positive peak to negative peak. So here in the circuit, the AC voltage is applied across the device. During positive half cycle, the device will be forward biased. Whereas during the negative half cycle, this reverse voltage will get applied across this thyristor, and hence the thyristor will get turned off by natural process. So here we are not going to use any device externally. So the process is completely natural. Hence it is called the natural commutation. So now we will see forced commutation. So in forced commutation, the current through the SCR is forced to become 0. So here it is used in DC circuits. So the forward current should be forced to made 0 with the help of some external devices or circuits. So it is also called as DC commutation. So the external circuit which is used for this purpose is defined as a commutation circuit, and the elements employed in such circuits are called as a commutating elements. Usually inductance and capacitances are used. Either capacitance or the combination of inductance and capacitance can be used for commutating the SCR. So the forced commutation can be classified into different methods. First one is the class A. So this class A is also called as self-commutated by a resonating load. So next, class B, self-commutated by an LC circuit. Class C, C or LC switched by another load carrying SCR. Class D, C or LC switched by an auxiliary SCR. Class E, an external pulse source for commutation. And class F. So this class F is a AC line commutation. So now we'll discuss the class C type of commutation here in this lecture. So now we'll discuss class C type of commutation. This class C is also called as a complementary commutation. So this is the main circuit diagram used for the class C commutation. Okay. So here it consists of two thyristors T1 and T2. This T1 is the main thyristor. So this thyristor is commutated with the help of this thyristor T2. This T2 is defined as a complementary or additional thyristor. So this main thyristor is connected in series with the load, and this thyristor T2 is connected in parallel with the main thyristor T1. Okay. Here the capacitor is connected in between T1 and T2. The reverse voltage of the capacitor is actually used for commutating the conducting thyristor. So initially we are assuming both the thyristors are in the off state. So the voltage across the capacitor will be 0. That is, the capacitor has no charge or it is not charged. So now we'll discuss the mode 1 operation. So in mode 1, the thyristor T1 is triggered. So once the thyristor T1 is triggered, the current will start flowing through the circuit. So the current will flow through in two paths. So one is a load current. It flows from EDC plus through the load through the conducting thyristor T1 and completes its path through EDC minus. So another current direction is from EDC plus through the load through the resistance R2 through the capacitor through the conducting thyristor T1 and completes its path through EDC minus. Once the current starts flowing through the capacitor will start charging. So here the terminal A of the capacitor is connected to the negative of the supply voltage, and terminal B is connected to the positive of the terminal voltage. So the capacitor will get charged with minus and plus as shown in the figure. So this is what we have discussed. When the main thyristor T1 is triggered, current starts flowing in two directions. One is a load current, another one is a charging current. So now the capacitor gets completely charged. So at the end of this mode, the thyristor T1 is conducting, T2 is in the off state, and the voltage across the capacitor will be equal to EDC. So this is a waveform. Once we apply a gate pulse to the thyristor T1. So this is a gate pulse applied to the thyristor T1. So two current will start flowing. One is a load current, another one is a charging current. So this IR1 is the load current. ISER is the current flowing through the conducting thyristor T1, and VT1 is the voltage across the conducting thyristor. So this is the load current. So this is the current flowing through the thyristor, and this is the voltage. So since the thyristor is conducting, the voltage across the thyristor will be equal to 0. So once the thyristor starts conducting, it will act as a short circuit, that is, it is a closed switch, so no voltage will appear across the device. So this will continue until the triggering pulse is given to the next thyristor T2. So now we'll discuss the mode 2 operation. So in mode 2 operation, the thyristor T2 is triggered. Okay, once the thyristor T2 is triggered, so the negative negative polarity of the capacitor voltage gets connected towards the anode of the thyristor T1, and positive polarity of the capacitor gets connected towards the cathode of the thyristor T1. So as a result, the reverse voltage gets applied across the thyristor T1, and the thyristor T1 will get turned off. So once the thyristor turns off, the current will start flowing through the device. So the current will start flowing from EDC plus, so it will flow through the load R1, through the capacitor, through the conducting thyristor T2, and completes its path through EDC minus. So once the current starts flowing through the device, so the capacitor will start charging. Okay. So now the terminal A is connected with the positive terminal of the supply voltage, and B is connected with the negative terminal of the supply voltage. So the capacitor will get charged with the polarity as plus and minus. So this is what we have seen. T2 is triggered. As and when T2 is triggered, this negative polarity will get applied across the thyristor T1. Okay. So T1 will get turned off, and the capacitor will get charged up. So this is the charging path of the capacitor. So the capacitor gets charged with the reverse voltage. So EC is equal to minus EDC. So now if we again trigger this thyristor T1, the capacitor voltage get applied across this thyristor, conducting thyristor T2, and T2 will get turned off. Okay. So this process is cyclic in nature, and it will get repeated. So this is the waveform as and when we apply a triggering pulse to the thyristor T2. So this is a triggering pulse for thyristor T2. So this is the current flowing through the resistor R1, that is the load. Now T1, thyristor T1 is not conducting, and hence no current will flow through the device. So the capacitor will get charged in the reverse direction. So this capacitor voltage will get applied across the thyristor T1. Okay. So this will continue until the triggering pulse is given to the thyristor T1. Okay, once the thyristor T1 is triggered, T2 will get turned off, and the process gets repeated. Okay. So this commutation is mainly used in single phase inverters with the center tapped transformers, and this is one of the best examples is McMurray-Bedford inverter, and this class C commutation is very reliable, and it is useful even at frequencies below 1000 Hz.